Alright, we're starting to look at specific quadrilaterals. Today is the trapezoid, which all you need for a trapezoid is a pair of parallel sides. And something that we did when we had parallel lines back in the day, we said that if I had two angles on the same side of parallel lines, that you would have them add up to 180. So they would add up to equal 180. That would mean x here would be 80 degrees. So something that we look at a lot in deciphering trapezoids will be based off not only parallel lines. This is a trapezoid, even though it has two pairs of parallel lines. All you need is one. So if I have two pairs, then I definitely have one pair. So that's a trapezoid. Down here, this is a trapezoid because these two add up to equal 180. Same side interior angles. This right here, even though it looks like a trapezoid, this is not as it's drawn. I would need to know something about these two angles adding up to 180, or these two angles adding up to 180 before that could possibly happen. This, however, as it was drawn, was a specific type of trapezoid called an isosceles trapezoid. And what we're going to have with that is that if I have these two sides opposite each other being congruent, then I can say some other things about it. Just like with triangles, if I had sides congruent, that meant I had angles congruent as well. So if I had these sides congruent, that means these base angles must also be congruent. And similarly, these top angles the exact same way. They must be congruent. And then the last piece of it are that the diagonals in an isosceles trapezoid must be of equal length to each other as well. So, looking at that, making an isosceles trapezoid, we can use that information to find out some stuff about this. If this is isosceles, that means that the non-parallel sides must be the same. So that means AB must also be 12. As for the angles, if I know angle B is 49, that means that the other base angle, angle A, must be 49 degrees. And I know that C and D must add up to 180, just like B and A must add up to 180. So that would mean 180 minus 49 would give me 131 degrees for each of those two angles right there. Alright, now something else that I can do. Let's say that I want to know for this, find the values of x and y that will make this an isosceles trapezoid. Well, if I want them to be equal, that would mean, or if I want to be isosceles, that would mean these two would have to be equal to each other. So to solve that, I would set WU and TV, well, WU, what is WU? That's a diagonal. TV, also a diagonal. Diagonals in an isosceles trapezoid are equal. That's why these should be equal to each other. So I'll say 2x squared minus 25 equals x squared plus 24. To solve that, I'll bring 25 over and subtract x squared from both sides. So I'll have x squared will equal 49. And that means x will equal, if I take the square root of that, 7, not just 7, plus or minus 7. It could be negative when I take that square root. Now, the other part of it, doing the angles here, same thing as always, y minus 17 and 4y plus 7. Those are consecutive angles in an isosceles trapezoid. They must be supplementary. They're the same side interior angles. So I have 5y minus 10 equals 180. That means 5y equals 190, which means y here should equal, should be 38, I believe that is. Alright, so there's how you would solve problems using trapezoids. Remember always, when we do isosceles, diagonals are congruent, the legs are congruent, and the angles always, in these, our base angles are congruent, and top angles should be congruent as well.